The following recording is a production of Kickin' Out at 2 in conjunction with the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network and is intended for private use only. For more information, head on over to facebook.com/Kickin' Out at 2 or our Twitter handle @Kickin' Out 2, along with searching Retromania with a W on any and all podcast platforms available to listen to archive shows such as this and all the great content of the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. Evergreen content at your fingertips anytime at your listening pleasure. And with that being said, we thank you for listening and hope you enjoy the show. It's about that time we go to war on this episode of Kickin' Out at 2. I'm your host, Dave Rosenbluth. Dennis J. Levy in the hot seat with me as we bring you a War Games Roulette watch-along. That's right, we're going to pick some War Games out, throw them on the roulette wheel, and see what comes up. Joining me, like I said, hot seat, Dennis J. Levy. What's up, buddy?
Always a pleasure. Excited about this episode, War Games. Can't get any better than that.
Yeah, I mean, we've watched a few War Games over the years on this podcast, you and I. The first one we watched together was 1993. Shockmaster involved in that. That was a pretty shitty one. We watched a whole pay-per-view. That was pretty shitty. We watched a Horseman involved in a War Games match against Sting when Sid dropped Brian Pillman on his neck. So we've had quite a few War Games episodes. You can find those in the archives at Retromania on Podbean by searching Retromania with a W or on any podcast platform available. No more cheap plugs. Let's do it. Survivor Series is coming up. We've already got 2 War Games matches that have been announced at the time of this recording. One of them is really kind of set in stone. I know you don't watch a whole lot of current WWE at the moment. So you don't. Okay, so currently at this moment, right now, and this could change, obviously, but we have Bayley's team of Damage Control with herself and the Women's Tag Team Champions, Io Sky and Dakota Kai, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley, all as one team. And on the other side, you have Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, who just recently came back to WWE, and there's a 5th spot that needs to be added, and there's been rumors of who it could possibly be.
You know it's going to be Becky Lynch.
You know what? A lot of people have hinted at that because of Becky Lynch's. The last time she was seen on WWE programming, she was involved in an angle with Damage Control right after SummerSlam, so that's very possible. Some have even speculated Beth Phoenix. Some have even speculated Tegan Knox. Some have even said Charlotte Flair. So at the time, we don't know if it's going to be something that they will announce ahead of time to try and get people to tune in, or if it's going to be a surprise. So
you got to figure it's got to be Beth Phoenix, because then Rhea give it.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking that that's a very possible. That's a big possibility. And with that being said, Edge also could make an appearance later on in the evening to cost Finn Balor his match. It's Finn Balor, AJ Styles scheduled for a singles match on that card. As far as the men go, at the time of this recording, it hasn't been determined, but we're kind of looking at the Bloodline against like Drew McIntyre, Sheamus, the Brawling Brutes. There's a 5th spot open over there too, so we'll see how that all plays out. But yeah, that's what's set for War Games. So I thought with War Games coming up, let's go back in time and let's watch a War Games. And I've got the roulette wheel with some choices, and we'll watch it on Peacock with all of you. Let's get into these choices. Now, we have a dealer's choice, which if it lands on the dealer's choice, I'm going to let you decide, Dennis, which War Games we're going to watch. But here are the War Games matches that are on the roulette wheel. We have War Games 1989 from the Great American Bash 1989. The teams were the Legion of Doom, the Midnight Express, and Dr. Death Steve Williams taking on the Samoan SWAT team, the Fabulous Freebirds, and Terry Bam Bam Gordy.
I'm cheering for that one.
Yeah, that sounds like a pretty good one, right? If I were you, Dennis, in your spare time, I would go and watch that entire episode of the Great American Bash from 1989. You also have Ric Flair and Terry Funk. You have Sting and Great Muta. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat against Lex Luger. Wow. That War Games match. You got a stacked card on there. It's pretty good.
89, you said?
89, yeah. All right, so there's that. From 1994, Fall Brawl, we saw Dusty Rhodes return to team with his son Dustin Rhodes and the Nasty Boys to take on Colonel Parker's stud stable, consisting of Arn Anderson, Bunkhouse Buck, Terry Funk, and Colonel Robert Parker himself. That was the storyline where the Stud Stable had been targeting Dustin Rhodes, and they got Dusty involved, and so that's a pretty fun little storyline, fun War Games match. This is a stinker. You're gonna like this one, Dennis. From the Fall Brawl 1995 pay-per-view, the War Games of the Dungeon of Doom taking on the Hulkamaniacs. The Dungeon of Doom consisted of the Zodiac, the Shark, Kamala, and Ming, taking on the team of Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Sting, and Lex Luger in a War Games match.
Interesting.
Yeah. From 1997, the NWO, consisting of Kevin Nash, Syxx, Buff Bagwell, and Conan, taking on the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair, Chris Benoit, Steve Mongo McMichael, and newly acquired Horseman member Kurt Hennig. If you remember that War Games, that was the night that Kurt Hennig turned on the Horsemen, joining the NWO, slamming Ric Flair's head on the door. So that's another selection on the roulette wheel. From 1998, this is where I feel like the War Games concept really shit the bed. This was a 3-teams War Games with 3 guys on each team. And the winner of this match would receive a shot at Goldberg for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship at the next month's pay-per-view, Halloween Havoc. Team WCW, represented by Rowdy Roddy Piper, Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior, and Diamond Dallas Page, taking on NWO Hollywood of Hollywood Hogan, Bret the Hitman Hart, and Stevie Ray, taking on NWO Wolfpack, Kevin Nash, Sting, and Lex Luger.
And the winner got a title shot.
Yes, the one person who scored the pinfall victory, having to avoid 9 other guys from challenging for the title, would get the opportunity.
That's interesting.
Okay.
In a bad way.
In a bad way, yes, exactly. I would agree. Here's another stinker, okay? And this is very convoluted. From 2000, an episode of WCW Monday Nitro in September of 2000, Russo's Revenge. Vince Russo, Jeff Jarrett, Scott Steiner, and Kevin Nash taking on Sting, Booker T, Goldberg, and Ernest the Cat Miller, with the WCW World Heavyweight Championship on the line in the 3-tier Ready to Rumble cage.
Oh, God. You're telling me Vince Russo was in the same cage as Bill Goldberg, and he thought that was...
Yeah, and the object of the match was the person to climb up to the top of that 3rd cage, because you remember that 3-tier cage, grab the WCW title, and walk out the cage was the winner. But it was a War Games match with teams.
I guess.
Yeah, I know, right? I guess, right? So, those are the selections. Those are on Peacock. We will find that for all of you on Peacock when that time comes. But let's spin the wheel, if you will. So, War Games 89, 94, 95, 97, 98, Russo's Revenge in 2000, and The Dealer's Choice. Dennis, you're kind of hoping for a Dealer's Choice, aren't you?
God, I am.
Yeah.
I want to watch the 89.
The 89 one? Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see where the chips fall on this roulette wheel. So, I'm going to spin right now. It's your lucky day, Dennis. It is Dealer's Choice.
89, let's go,
You
baby.
want to go 89?
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to do it. We're going to watch the War Games match from the Great American Bash 1989, pitting the Fabulous Freebirds, the Samoan SWAT team, taking on the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, and Dr. Death Steve Williams. And while we are getting that all ready, here's a brief message from the folks over at the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. Hey everyone, it's Dave from Kicking Out at 2, here to remind you of what's on deck this month from the folks over at the Retromania Pro Wrestling Podcast Network. Right now in the archives, it's Survivor Series season, and on Kicking Out at 2, Justin returns as we watch the 1997 installment, which is infamous for the Montreal Screwjob. Speaking of screwjobs, Marking Out the Days also covers this monumental moment in wrestling history as the fellas break out their fantasy booking caps and map out an elaborate storyline as if the screwjob was an actual storyline on WWF television in 1997. Travel back on the excursion with them from Montreal in 97 to WrestleMania 14 in 1998. Plus, Cool Truth with AC brings you the latest banter in the current pro wrestling landscape covering AEW, Impact, WWE, and more. Search Retromania on any podcast app to find all this great content and so much more. Now let's get back to the War Games Roulette Watch Party only on Kicking Out at 2. And we are back for this War Games Roulette Watch Party as dealer's choice was made, and the dealer in Dennis chose the 1989 War Games match featuring the Road Warriors, Midnight Express, and Dr. Death Steve Williams taking on the Fabulous Freebirds and the Samoan SWAT team from the Great American Bash 1989. So we found it on Peacock. So what I want you guys to do is go to your Peacock and search Great American Bash. It's Season 3, Episode 1 from 1989. And I want you to fast forward all the way to 1 hour, 41 minutes, 52 seconds. Then pause it, and you'll see the double cage with the double ring. And when I say play, press play. And from time to time, I might crank up the audio. Not sure, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to crank up the audio for the entrances so we can kind of get a feel of that. And then Dennis and I will offer our alternate commentary throughout the course of this match. Talk a little bit of War Games. Talk about some of the current stuff that's going on. And yeah, that'll be that. So, without further ado, in 3, 2, 1, I'm pressing play right about now. Freebirds making their entrance.
Never been a big fan.
We'll talk about that in a minute. All right, I'm going to fuck the audio. The audio is not pretty great on there.
Yeah, the
can barely hear the ring announcer. Yeah. And so it's Freebirds, Michael Hayes, Jimmy Jam Garvin, Terry Bam Bam Gordy, and then the Samoan SWAT team, which would turn out to be the Head Shrinkers, Samu and Fatu, with a young Paul Heyman at ringside, if you noticed there. All right, so tell me why you were not a fan of the Freebirds.
Well, great. This goes in real life.
Okay.
I know people, there are people out there who try to be cool, and in reality are cool, but that always pisses me off. When people try to be cool, I hate it. You either naturally be cool and just be cool about it, or like they were just like, we're cool, hey, girls suck my cocks, and guys want to be us, and blah 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 blah. I always hated people like that. Okay. Real life and in wrestling.
So that's what the Freebirds kind of represented to
exactly.
You, that they were guys that were trying to be cool.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. I wasn't a big Freebirds fan when I was younger, but I did. You know what I used to like about them was the three-man group that they would interchange in the tag team matches.
That was cool.
And
the Freebird rules.
Yeah, they had the Freebird rules. I like that aspect of them. As we see the Midnight Express making their way down to the ring as baby faces with Dr. Death Steve Williams and Jim Cornette.
I don't know if I've seen Bobby Eaton as a face a million times as a singles wrestler. I think it's the first time I've ever seen the Midnight Express as a face. I'm excited.
Look at this. Is this very babyface for the Road Warriors to ride bitch on a motorcycle behind somebody else?
No.
Should they be the ones riding the motorcycles down to the ring? Look at them. They're riding bitch. With two random bikers from a biker club in Baltimore with Paul Ellering making their way down to the ring. It looks like we are ready for war. It's War Games. It's the War Games, as William Regal used to say. Yeah, look at it. That's not babyface like riding bitch.
No.
It's one thing if the two of them are riding the bikes, they had a couple of hot chicks behind them. But they're riding bitch behind two random dudes that nobody gives a fuck about on a motorcycle. Now, let me ask you, while we're on the subject of War Games. Last couple of years, NXT has adopted the War Games format, and then COVID hit, and they kind of had to make a change. And War Games is making its debut on the main roster. Tell me what you think All right, let me rephrase this question, okay? Are there elements of War Games from the original War Games that you like or dislike? And tell me what you like and dislike about the current War Games.
I don't know exactly what you mean by that. I'm sorry.
Okay, so like, for instance, this here, there's a top on the cage.
Yeah.
Okay? On the current War Games cage in WWE, there is no top.
I never noticed that before.
You really?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I don't know. I see these guys do all this shit and there's no top on that thing. I don't know. I
No.
never noticed that before.
There's no top on the War Games cage in
I
NXT.
never noticed that before. I don't
Okay.
know.
All right. Well,
granted, I kind of like that because like.
You like what? No top or top?
No. I like no top.
Okay.
Because think about that scary the power bomb with Brian Pillman. It was so scary because he hit the top.
Oh, and Sid hit him with the power.
Yeah. If there was no top,
there was a top, but
but if there was no top,
yeah.
I don't think that'd be a problem.
Okay.
It's like what they should have done with the top, I guess. Like move it up 5 feet. You know what I mean?
So kind of leave more room for the top. Okay, I like that. I mean,
that's what made it so scary because Pillman hit the top and he almost got stuck for like a mic of second and then dropped him.
Now I like the top on the War Games only for the mere fact that like it provides us that element of there's no way out. You know, you're locked in. You're not leaving. You know, like it's going to be settled inside the cage. You know, which has a very Hell in the Cell kind of, you know, element to it. But by the same token, leaving no top on the current cage, you can have the guys like Ricochet, and you can have, you know, the smaller guys doing the crazy stunts off the top. Not that I'm a very, very bloodthirsty fan, but seeing there's more room to do some pretty wild stuff in the match. I mean, for instance, a couple of years ago, Io Sky, who was known as Io Shirai in NXT, put a garbage can over the top of her, and she flew off. She dove off the top of the cage, not seeing where her opponents were. You know, which I thought was pretty wild and pretty crazy.
Yeah. Let's see, like right now, right? How in the world is Bobby Eade going to do his beautiful leg drop off the top?
The Alabama Jam, yeah, I know. It's going to be difficult. It's difficult because if you look at the top of that cage, there's not much room.
Yeah. By the way, I was sad of Bobby Eade's passing.
Yeah.
I was always a huge fan of him.
I love the Midnight Express. One of the, definitely a team that deserves a Hall of Fame recognition.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't be surprised with this new Triple H regime-led WWE that...
You put in Cornette and Midnight Express.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, they put in the Rock and Roll Express, and Cornette inducted him. So I think that's a very possible...
It's time. Jim needs to get in. Jim needs to get in.
Yeah. Now, you listen to Cornette's podcast a lot, right?
Yeah, at least twice a week.
Okay. See, I don't listen to it. I mean, not that I don't want to. It's just, you know, there's so many hours in the day. And I feel like I could only take him in short spurts where, like, I can't take long rants with him, and he'll just kind of go on and on and on.
I agree that some of it is like he's doing the I call it the Colin Cowherd effect, or like the ESPN effects, where he doesn't really mean something sometimes.
He's just doing it.
He does it to argue and to get everyone's rattle their cage.
Yeah.
You know. But granted, when he does come from the heart, oh my God, he preaches the choir with me.
Yeah.
When he talks about the current wrestling and like some of the flaws of it, and even like when he bashes people that I like and love, Kenny Omega and stuff like that. They're valid concerns. They really are.
Does. You know what? When I've listened to a couple of excerpts from him, and I've watched him on shoot interviews, and he makes valid points about like certain things in wrestling, whether it's the realism, but at the same time, like I've always been a big proponent of, you know, on one hand you have to suspend people's disbelief and make you wonder. Like, at least back then you did. You had to suspend people's disbelief and make people wonder, like, oh, man, like, is that real? Or is that, you know, they just, you know, playing that up? Is that, you know, a story or whatever? But then at the same time, it's like sometimes, and I remember watching a documentary on the WWE Network, not Peacock, the WWE Network, of, It was behind the scenes of WrestleMania in California a few years ago, and they show a clip of all the talent people backstage on the monitor watching the Sting Triple H match, and there was that famous spot where the NWO came out and they helped Sting fight off DX, and they had this big, Monday Night Wars kind of meeting, so to speak. And everyone went crazy for it. And I remember a line in that documentary where John Cena said, well, sometimes you got to break the rules in order to entertain them. And I feel like because Cornette is so old school driven by his beliefs when it comes to wrestling, that he can't grasp that. Sometimes you do have to break the rules in order to suspend people's disbelief,
Yeah.
And I think Cornette would be beneficial he represents a certain era of wrestling, and that's his shtick, and that's what he's running with on his podcast, and that works for him because he's still got a podcast going today. But I don't see him anytime soon really taking a different stance on wrestling, like current wrestling. I'm not saying current wrestling is great. I think there's some good parts of it. I think there's some stuff that needs work on. Different elements, as you see Terry Gordy entering the ring, the heels with the advantage, as always, in a War Games match.
Are you, as the babyface team ever got the advantage?
What? I think we've had this discussion.
Did we?
We might have. I know that in recent years NXT has done that, where the babyface team would get the advantage.
I think the only time I saw that, and then it would work the opposite, was that female match where it was like Tegan Knox, I think her name was, and then Dakota Kai. They're like in the same area. Then Nick's Tegan Knox, like her turn, but then Dakota kicked the shit out.
Turned down. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was the only time I ever saw the
babyface
team get
so
the
that
advantage.
War Games was Dakota Kai, Tegan Knox.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
That was a good one too.
I'm gonna look that up right now.
That was a good one. Obviously,
let me look it up right now. I'm gonna Google it. It was from 2019. It was the very first women's War Games match in 2019. Because they didn't start doing the women until 2019, like I said. Take a look here. Results.
I feel bad for Tegan Knox too.
It was Team Ripley versus Team Baszler. So Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, and Dakota Kai defeated Team Baszler with Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Io Shirai, and Kaylee Ray, which was a great War Games match. And they stacked the deck against Rhea Ripley. Excuse me, yawning here. Excuse me. Stacked the deck against Rhea Ripley and her team when Dakota Kai turned heel and turned on Tegan Knox. And therefore, Dakota left the match. She didn't even get involved in the match. She slammed the cage door on Tegan's knee. Not the cage to get into the ring, but the shark cage that they had them all in.
Yep.
And then they took Tegan Knox out of the match. So it was just Rhea Ripley and Candice LeRae that was left on the War Games team fighting off four other people, which I thought was a great story, and I think it was a good way to introduce the women into the War Games concept.
And it turned Rhea into a
star. Let's get creative here, Dennis. When it comes to War Games, name me your favorite War Games match of all time.
Ooh, that's a good one. Before
you watch this, as you see Dr. Death power pressing Terry Bam Bam Gordy into the ceiling of the cage. I think that's an innovative spot there. Name me your favorite War Games match of all time. And start with that. Give me your favorite War Games match of all time.
All right, people are gonna get mad at me, and I'm almost mad at myself for this answer. But
Why?
I gotta be true to myself. It's when the Undisputed Era won. That I love that.
They've
match.
been in a few.
Well, the one, like the first one.
The first one?
Yeah, the first one.
So it was the Undisputed Era against Sanity against Roderick Strong and the Authors of Pain.
Oh,
and the Undisputed Era won that match. It was a
So
3-team War Games. NXT. Okay.
Yeah.
So you like that out of all the vintage War Games over the years?
Here's the thing. I maybe it's because it happened so long ago that I remember a lot of these War Games, but like that one really, really like if I can remember details, that match really got to me because we was more recent or whatever.
Yep.
But I'm proud of that answer.
Okay.
I love that.
All right. Is there anyone from previous years that you like?
Of course, the one that we saw before. Brian Pillman and.
Horseman against Sting's team? Okay. That's not a bad one. All right. Now, let's get creative. Build yourself a Dream Wargames team.
Oh.
With men and with women.
All right. Right off the bat, of course, it's going to be Psycho Sid. Like his war games, like I said, Brian Pillman, he just fucking annihilated everybody.
Yeah.
So I'll go Sid. I'll go Arn Anderson because the Four Horsemen has been in a million of them. He has that experience.
Yeah.
Arn Anderson.
You got Sid in there, right?
Yeah, Sid.
Sid's my
captain.
Anderson. So 5 guys.
Yep. So Sid,
Arn Anderson.
Arn. Oh man. Who's like really good at like oh man. Yeah, give me Flair. Give me
that's three out of 4 horsemen right there.
Give me another big guy too. Give me give me Dr. Death and last guy. Trying to think. Just the giggles, give me Hulk Hogan. Let's go.
So
Sid.
So Flair, Arn Anderson,
Yep.
Sid, Dr. Death, and Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Interesting.
Give me Hogan just so I know my team wins.
Okay. All right. Now the women.
Women. Eno.
Io Shirai. Not Eno. Io.
Excuse me. Give me
Eno.
Give me Sherry Martel because she's tougher than nails. I know she's never been in Wars game, but I can pick any female wrestler.
Yeah,
right?
anyone of any era.
Did this
Did they have
to be in a War Games?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah,
any era.
You know what? Give me Sherry Martel as my captain because she's tougher than nails.
Mm-hmm.
Give me Io Shirai because she was fucking phenomenal.
Yep.
And she was terrific. Of course, Rhea because give me Alundra because or
Medusa.
And then finally, that I know people want to get mad at me because she's an American wrestler, but give me Aja Kong.
Aja Kong?
Yeah, that would be my
That
would be my female 5.
All right. For the men, my dream team men's war game, I'm going to go with Dusty Rhodes, Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Sting, and the 5th and final member of my Dream Wargames. That's tough. Dusty, Flair, Arn, Sting. Who else performed really well in War Games? See, I'm trying to go with guys that had really stood out in a War Games that really have performed well.
That's why I picked Sid.
Yeah. Dusty, Flair, Arn, Sting. It's 4. I can go Luger. Yeah.
Sexy Lexi? Let's
go. I go Luger. For the women, I like Sherry, so I'm going to steal that. I'm going to go Sherry for my dream team, not as the captain. If captain for the War Games, I'm picking Medusa. Medusa, Sherry, Chyna.
Oh, come on.
She's an intimidating force. She's a big chick. She can move some people around.
I didn't think she was a rubbish wrestler.
She wasn't a great wrestler, but intimidating looking.
Yeah, I get it. I just shit on your answer. I'm sorry.
3. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I apologize.
Fuck up. Yeah.
I apologize for my actions.
Christ.
I apologize for my actions.
Fucking asshole. So, Medusa, Sherry, Chyna. I like Rhea Ripley. And I'm going to go Lita.
Yeah.
Those are my 5 in a Dream War Games match there.
So get Lita.
I was going to really piss you off and go Charlotte Flair, but I was like, nah, you know what? I like going. I think Rhea fits that War Games type of model. Yeah, those are my 5 for the men. Those are my 5 for the women. Dream Wargames. Dream Wargames teams. Now, give me a Dream Wargames match for the men.
Ooh,
so you got your team.
Yep.
So you got Sid, Flair, Arn,
Yep.
Dr. Death, and Hulk Hogan. Who are they facing? Who are the 5 are they going to face?
Demolition and Legion of Doom have an alliance. That's
4.
And then you give me the Great Muta.
So it's an all face paint team.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I dig that. So I'm going to go a different route with the men. So Dusty, Flair, Arn, Lex Luger, and Sting. Those 5. It's like an all NWA WCW team are going to face in a Dream Wargames match an all-star team from the WWF. Hulk Hogan, Macho Man Randy Savage, Andre the Giant, Rowdy Roddy Piper, and the Ultimate Warrior.
Interesting.
That's a 5-man Dream Wargames match right there for the men. All right, now give me a Dream Wargames match for the women.
Women, okay. I want to take Japanese wrestlers, but believe it or not, I can't do it because of my speech impediment. And
okay.
Like I wouldn't even know, like Miyama Toyota, you know, but anyway, I don't even know. I can't, anyway, I can't.
Is that even a person?
No, it is. She's probably arguably the best female wrestler of all time. But anyway,
okay.
So I'll keep it American-ish. Jesus, such a good one. All right, then Sherry Martell's.
So Sherry, you have Sherry.
Yeah. So
Alundra Blaze, Aja Kong.
Yep.
Rhea Ripley, and who's your 5th?
Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah, I got it.
You have Sherry,
Io.
All right, so Sherry, Io Shirai, Medusa, or Alundra. Or you're gonna say Alundra Blaze. So Sherry.
I got Alundra, and you got Medusa.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Sherry, Rhea, Alundra, Io, and Aja Kong. Those are your 5.
Okay, awesome.
Who are they facing?
All right, they were gonna face what's her name? What's the black chick? Amazing Kong.
Awesome Kong.
Awesome Kong. I got Awesome Kong. I'm gonna get. You know what? I don't like her, but she's tough. Blah 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 blah. You get to where I'm going with this. Toilet Flair.
Charlotte Flair.
And that.
Now pause for a minute here.
Yep.
We're as we're watching this, we're down to the nitty gritty. I think the babyface is left. You see Hawk on the outside, and Michael Hayes on the other. So the last 2 combatants from each team are waiting on the outside. So we have 8 men in so far. Michael Hayes representing the heels, and Hawk representing the babyfaces. Just wanted to give you guys an update. We are currently at 2 hours, 3 minutes, 51 seconds with this War Games match. But go ahead.
All right. Give me...
So you got Awesome Kong,
Yep.
Charlotte Flair.
Yep. Give me Jacqueline.
Jackie.
Give me... I really want to give Trish, but I just can't do it. She's too... I don't know. Too much of a fitness model for me, if you know what I mean. Who's tougher than Niels? Give me Moolah.
Moolah? So Charlotte, Awesome Kong, Moolah.
And for my last one, going through the Rolodex, oh, you know what? The one time I've ever seen Gail Kim in a steel cage match, she was off the hook.
So Gail Kim. Okay. All right. I like that. So it's Awesome Kong, Charlotte Flair, Moolah, Gail Kim, and who's the 5th?
Oh, I don't know the 5th.
You might have said it. That's why I'm asking you.
I'm trying to think.
You just fucking forget?
Did I? You know me, I'm all fucked up.
Yeah, I know. Today you've been all over the place.
So yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I forgot already.
You didn't put Trish in there. So Moolah, Kong, Charlotte. Oh my God! Why are we?
Okay, yeah, I got Moolah, Jackie.
Moolah, Jackie, Charlotte, Kong, and
Gail Kim.
Gail Kim.
That's five.
Those are your 5.
Don't
Against.
confuse me.
Well, I'm not confusing you. I'm trying to, because you fucking forgot. I'm trying to get this all mapped out here. So Moolah, Charlotte, Jackie, Kong, Gail Kim against Sherry, Alundra, Rhea.
Oh yeah, we got Io.
Io. And who's the 5th?
Io.
Baby faces are in. Hawk with a double close on.
Sherry Martel, Medusa.
Io, Rhea,
and who else I got? Oh man, drawing a blank. But anyway, we get the gist.
Yeah. Okay.
People could just rewind.
All right. Yeah, they could. Yeah, they could. My female women's War Games dream match. On one side, we have Medusa, Sherry, Rhea Ripley, Lita, and Chyna. On the other side, we have Trish Stratus, Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Mickie James, and a 5th for that team. We need a heater. I'm going to go with Awesome Kong.
Nice.
I'm going to go with Awesome Kong. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. As we're getting to the closing moments of this War Games match here. Heavy on the tag teams in this match. Freebirds, Road Warriors, Samoan SWAT team, Midnight Express. A young Paul Heyman outside the ring.
What's he trying to do? Oh, he's trying to put the phone in there?
Jam his phone through the, as the referee's watching him, Tommy Young there. Trying to jam his phone through the cage, the fencing of the cage. Paul, you know what? As we're watching this, let's talk about Paul Heyman for a minute. Okay. Paul Heyman in recent years has become a very large focal point of WWE programming between managing Brock Lesnar as well as CM Punk. His most success being with Brock and then now with Roman Reigns. Where do you see Paul Heyman in terms of all-time great managers? I mean, there's been hundreds of guys that have had that have been, you know, listed up there as the all-time greats. But where do you see Paul Heyman?
I don't put him in Keenan status. Nowhere near that.
Bobby Heenan?
I gotta put him in Jim Cornette status though. Like second, like.
So if you're gonna make a Mount Rushmore of managers, who's on your Mount Rushmore? 4. You have to choose 4.
Heenan, obviously.
Yep, that's 1. It's
then
easy.
I gotta put Cornette. I gotta put Cornette.
Cornette, that's 2. I would put him on there.
That Jimmy Hart, I guess. And then but I'll put Paul Heyman over Jimmy Hart.
I like Paul Heyman in there.
So I'll go Paul Heyman, and I'll go and I'll stick with Jimmy.
Jimmy?
Yeah.
That sounds like a solid 4 right there. I can get behind that.
I really want to put Sherry in there, but those 4 guys.
I wanted to put. So if I'm being real honest, I would put Heenan, Cornette, Heyman, and the 4th could be interchangeable between Jimmy Hart, Miss Elizabeth, J.J. Dillon.
Yeah,
those 3 I think you could easily interchange into on that Mount
Rushmore. Miss Elizabeth, absolutely.
And I know Elizabeth only. Oh, I think this is it here. This is where Garvin does give up, and the winners are the Road Warriors, the Freebirds. I'm sorry, the Road Warriors, the Midnight Express, and Dr. Death Steve Williams defeating the Freebirds and the Samoan SWAT team.
Great match.
This was a pretty fun match as we talked a lot about.
Great might be a little over.
Yeah, it's a good match. It was a fun little match. Yeah. So we see the babyface team exiting the cage here for this War Games match. Oh, wait a minute. Did we see? And they're going through the crowd, which is interesting. Oh, wait a minute. Animal. Oh, they locked Animal in there. The war's not over.
Time for a beatdown.
Time for a post-match. Yep, exactly. They always seem to do it on Animal. You notice that? Hawk had to always save Animal.
I think you're right about that.
Did you notice that? Babyface is climbing the cage, trying to get in.
This is really funny. Like, what is Dr. Death even trying to do right now?
He's shaking the cage. What's Stan Lane going to do? You're going to climb the top? What are you going to look for an opening? There is no opening. Like, they're trapped. He's trapped in there, fellas. He's not going anywhere. Oh, top rope. That shitty headbutt. Now, Hawk broke free from the door, and then they're all running away. Look at that. They're all running away. Interesting way to end this War Games here.
Yeah. Wait. The whole time there was a door there? Why didn't they go through that door? There's 2 doors.
Yeah. I know, right? I know. That's crazy. Well, that's going to put this War Games Roulette watch along to an end. Thank you, Dennis, for being a part of this. Our next episode, Justin joins me as we do a Survivor Series mystery watch along with some random matches in Survivor Series history, celebrating some milestone anniversaries. So next week on the docket, the main event from the very first Survivor Series, Hulk Hogan's team, consisting of Hulk Hogan, Bam Bam Bigelow, Mr. Wonderful, Ken Patera, and Don Morocco, take on the team of Andre the Giant, King Kong Bundy, One Man Gang, Ravishing Rick Rude, and Natural Butch Reed. That's a possible watch-along episode, as well as Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart from 1992, when Bret first won the WWF Championship. Also on the docket for a watch-along choice for this Survivor Series mystery watch-along is Ric Flair and Razor Ramon taking on Mr. Perfect and Macho Man Randy Savage. Also on the docket for the Survivor Series mystery watch-along is Shawn Michaels challenging Randy Orton for the WWE Championship in 2007. That was the night that Shawn Michaels was not allowed to use his super kick. Otherwise, he was disqualified and would not be able to challenge for the championship again. The very first Elimination Chamber is also in the on the roulette wheel. That could be a choice, as well as CM Punk defending the WWE Championship against John Cena and Ryback, which was the night that the Shield made their debut at Survivor Series. So those are all the choices for the watch along on our next episode. Roulette wheel style, keeping it classy, keeping it spontaneous, organic, if you will, on Kicking Out at 2. So I think it's time that we put this down for the 3 count, Dennis. What do you think?
Fucking A.
All right, let's do it, and we'll see you all next time.